The second big battleground, it's going to be goaltending. Let's take a look at this this board here that Aaron threw together. In the regular season, yes, Laurent Brossoit was better than Stuart Skinner. In the playoffs, Laurent Brossoit better than Stuart Skinner. Career playoffs, Brossoit a little bit more experience, better than Stuart Skinner. Now, there's a couple of ways to look at this. Yes, Brossoit, higher end regular season when you look at these numbers. He played less than 15 games though, right? You could find a 15 game sample size from Stuart Skinner where his numbers would look that good or close to it. Skinner's now got the first playoff series under his belt. I think it was fair, and when you watched him, he didn't really look like the same Stuart Skinner we saw throughout the regular season. I think he maybe had some jitters in round one. There was some bad luck as well with the stick breaking and things like that. Laurent Brossoit is capable of putting together a good series for this Golden Knights team. But they also bleed a lot of chances, and I'll get to that again in just a second. They bleed a lot of chances, and I don't know if Brossoit is a high-end enough caliber goalie to hold off the Oilers through in 5 straight games or 4 straight games or 5 of 7 games. I don't think he's there. And when I look at how Vegas tends to generate offense, they'll make life difficult on Stuart Skinner. They have good offensive weapons in that lineup. They play with a very fast pace. Goaltending is the one where I don't know who to give the edge to. It's probably leaning a little bit more in Vegas, but if anyone's sitting there saying it's a slam dunk, Vegas has the better goaltending, they're incorrect. It's close at least.
Yeah, I mean, you got a rookie goaltender and a goaltender in Brossoit who is essentially just becoming a starter for the first time in his career, right? So it's hard to really compare where they're both at the moment, but I do remember when Frank was on our show, it must have been right after game 1 of their series against Winnipeg, he made a comment about how people were a little unsure of what Brossoit was doing, to be honest, in that one game against Winnipeg. So he wasn't perfect by any means against him, but he managed to find 4 wins, and you could say the same about Stuart Skinner too. But I agree with what you said. I think Skinner, we haven't seen the best of him yet. We made a comment yesterday. There was no Skinner game in round 1.
Nope.
So hopefully we can just see a better Stuart Skinner and not make big errors like he did, I guess you could say. But yeah, I think there's a way, I think what I'm trying to say is this might be the biggest factor in the series. Like if somehow,
it usually is in the playoffs, right? Like goaltending goes a long way in determining these things.
So maybe the Oilers will just have to outscore the problems on some nights, but Brossoit, I think, is capable of shutting him down for a period or 2. Kind of saw that a little bit when I think it was the 3rd game of the season when they played him, and he played really, really well. So he's not as good as Korpisalo, but he's still a good goalie.
Yeah. Bo is in and says, we broke Korpisalo, we can break Brossoit. And I kind of agree with that a little bit as well. Like Brossoit is a guy who over his career has, had consistency issues in certain stops. There's a reason why he's in year 10 of his career or something, and he's never been a bona fide number 1 somewhere. This is a guy who is playing good hockey right now, but don't be fooled, he's a career backup. And I'll be interested to see if we end up seeing a second goalie at any point in this series.
Yeah. So is Quick their current backup, or is it Logan Thompson, or is it Aiden Hill?
It's Quick, I think.
Okay, because they just got it's amazing that 2 teams in the Pacific Division played 4 or more goalies this season and made the playoffs. Like Vegas and the Kings both did that.
Yeah, you're right.
It's crazy.
Kyle Peterson and Quick.
And we thought we had goaltending issues.
And not really. Stuart Skinner's been solid. Christopher Palmer is in and says Skinner's really good at setting his feet, coming across on his feet. Skinner in the first half, not as good as Skinner in the second half. And when you break his season down into 10-game chunks, it actually is pretty consistent. And his last 10 games were his best 10 games. So again, that's kind of why I look at the struggles against LA or the mediocre play against LA, and I kind of go, maybe it's jitters for the guy. And maybe now he knows what playoff hockey is about. You got to remember, not only is this his first appearance in an NHL playoff run, it's his first time being on the bench, right? It's not like he's got 2 years of watching Mike Smith as a backup and getting a handle for the atmosphere and seeing how things can, how a game can kind of go, how quickly things can change. It was his first time getting that experience. So I think I maybe cut him a little bit of slack. OP is in and says there's no goaltending advantage right now. Either could be better in any game or over the course of the series. And I think that's probably a good way to sum up this topic.
Yeah, I think so too. And like you said, he has no experience. He wasn't even one of the Black Aces last year.
No,
he was Olivier Rodrigue, who you guys met in LA. So yeah, I agree with that comment from OP too. I don't think either goaltender is better than the other. I think both goaltenders are capable of shutting one team down for a night too, though.